Go.
So when we're talking about three highest priorities for children that parents have, and then our own priorities that we would want for our kids, it might just be based on my personal experience lately. I know a lot of parents are very much concerned with their children's spiritual health, but a lot of times what I'm running into is parents that are really concerned with moral living, that their kids are that they're good kids as opposed to necessarily being godly kids, that they're happy, in the sense that no parent really wants their kids to suffer, but sometimes I even have parents that go above and beyond to keep their parent or their kids from suffering, because they want their kids to be happy. And then success, which I know a lot of us are going to talk about, but that they're set up for success in school, in college, financially, whatever the case may be. Those seems to be the highest priorities. For my own kids, it's going to start with their relationship with Christ. I want my kids to have a love for Christ and for God, and for that to define everything that they do, the jobs that they pick and the relationships that they have, that to be the central part of their discipleship, beginning with their salvation. That they have an intimate knowledge of God's word, that they're able to articulate it and memorize it, meditate on it. And then that they have a desire to make disciples, and starting with their own families. I hope my kids find godly kids to marry and build families that they can disciple at home, and that they have an evangelical spirit of wanting to kind of fulfill that great commission. But yeah, that's my three things, guys.
Okay, first, the average parent in the church seem to believe that the three highest priorities are faith, health, and money. Still, many Christian parents teach their children faith as a priority. Although it is difficult to teach faith at home, parents want their children to have mature faith. Next is health. If you are not healthy, you can struggle in many areas of your life. Finally, like most parents, they want their children to be financially affluent. Perhaps what they most want to see is that they want their children to be physically and spiritually healthy and financially affluent. Second, as a father, the three highest discipleship priorities I want to teach my children are loving God, a loving family, and a loving neighbor. As saved being, we must love God more than anything else in the world. Second, the family is the first community and a small church that God has given us. As as disciples, we should love our family. Finally, we must love our neighbors. To love and serve our neighbors is God's will as revealed in the Bible.
Sweet. For me, what I said was for that first question, I feel like parents desire for their students to have community. They don't really. I've noticed in our ministry, we have some families that come in not because of the teaching, not because of the theology, but simply because they want their students to be engaged in culture, in a good culture, but in culture. Another one is success. I think On, you said it really well with being financially affluent, so they could have jobs, they could have scholarships, and they can go to school, get degrees, and they can support their families when they grow up one day, things like that. I do think I think that's huge. Success is huge. Uh, and then I was struggling with the last one, but I think I've been thinking through it, trying to come up with a different answer here. Just thinking through the parents I've talked to in our ministry, and I do think there's a desire to be known, that their student is known. They brag a lot. Like I was sitting with a parent the other day at lunch, and just bragging about what they're doing, which is they love their student. They want us to know, but they want somebody to listen to how great their student is at times, and we want to do that. But we definitely want a humble attitude. I know that's something I'm struggling with some parents in my ministry, so I guess that's why that comes to my mind. For the second question, I think both of these guys said it great. There's not really a way to rewrite the wheel on it. Um, but I think it starts with knowing who Jesus is. I think that's probably one of my favorite things we've learned in this class is just that's what we started with, is that students don't know who King Jesus is. And I think that's just stuck with me. Honestly, I learned it last semester in the Issues in Student Ministry course. And just knowing, it's changed the way I pray. It's changed the way I view Jesus, and who he is. And I think that's what I would desire for my own children as well, is that they would know who King Jesus is. Second, I'd agree with Ben on his word, knowing the power of the word, that the word has the power to transform, right? It has the power to teach, has the power to correct us. And it's just valuing that. I think we're in a culture today that doesn't value that and doesn't value absolute truth. And I think the word is absolutely true. And lastly, I mean, I can pick any one of what these guys just said. I think we want them to. I want a disciple. You know, I want my student or my child to be a disciple and a disciple maker. Everything that it entails to be a disciple. Uh, I want them to work hard at it. I want them to work with in excellence as working for the Lord, like Colossians 3:23 says. I want them to take pride in what they do, not for their own glory, but for His glory. So that's where I'm at. So there you go.